It's time to take command with former NFL tight end Logan Paulsen and former Commanders beat reporter Craig Hoffman.
Take Command podcast from Odyssey Sports. All right, let's wrap up with some defensive guys. That's Logan Paulsen, of course. I'm Craig Hoffman. If you want more from Logan, at Logan_Paulsen82 on Instagram. You can hit me on Twitter at Craig Hoffman or at Hoffman Show. All right, let's get into some defensive guys. I really just want to focus in on two positions because we did the
DBs.
We did the DBs yesterday. Edge guys.
Yeah.
Not a position of need, but a very important position to watch for Washington because it's a premier position. It could knock guys that they need down to 16 potentially. What do you see out of this position where it's considered one of the best groups that we've had in a while?
It's just, again, it's very deep, and it's kind of like depending on what you're looking for. Like you could probably find a guy so everyone's talking about Adebarwe, from Northwestern, who kind of broke the combine. He ran a 4.49 at 280 pounds. He jumped great. His drill work looked so clean. His footwork was great. I was kind of hoping he'd slide to like the middle of the second, maybe be there and play at 48 for Washington. But after that, no chance in hell. So he's he's an excellent football player. I think a guy like Yaya Daibi from Louisville, his film's okay, but he kind of tested so well. He was like a poor man's Adebarwe. You know what I mean? He was like kind of in that same big. He's 275. He's 6'4". I think he ran a 4.52. Like inside outside pass rush ability, violent hands. A guy that's going to slide a little bit because his film's not. It's fine, but it's not elite. So I think there's just name a guy. Like there's a lot of good guys. The kid from San Jose State, Foyoko, I think it's his name. He's got heavy hands, inside outside pass rush ability. He'll be available later in the draft. Like it just depends on what you're looking for. Like Nick Hampton's a pass rush specialist. Is that what you want with some special teams upside? He's a smaller guy, really twitchy, very violent to contact. He has like tremendous power for being a smaller guy. Is he a guy you bring in on third down and say, hey, Chase, bump into 3 technique or whatever? Like there's just, you can find somebody. What is Washington looking for specifically? I think they're looking for like a bigger inside outside guy, but maybe they're looking for like a guy who's just got juice. And everyone's going to say, oh, what about Will McDonald IV? I hate to break it to you, he's probably going to go in the first round. So, you're looking for someone later, probably one of these other names that not super familiar with, but there's a lot of good rushers. There's a lot of kind of different stylistic guys. And it's just about saying, this is who we're going to find. This is our fit. And I think there's just a lot of opportunity for guys like that.
Yeah. I think some people might try to get ahead of themselves and say, well, they need to find the replacement for Chase or Montez. Cause if they're going to sign Duran, they can't possibly keep all of them. And that's true.
Right.
But you don't need to find that guy now.
Right.
And in fact, there's a little bit of an advantage of doing it next year because, yes, that guy is going to have to start as a rookie, but he was a first rounder. Then okay, that's what you do. And you can keep the clock like pushed out on paying him and have the money because like the rookie contracts escalate, not by a ton, but the lower the number, obviously, the better. So that to me is like where they are at edge. If they can pick up that rotation piece, great. They can probably do some of that in free agency potentially as well, including potentially re-signing F.A. Obata in terms of the inside-outside piece. And then in terms of finding the Shaka Tony, if you will, the end of rotation guy who's got a little bit of juice. Obviously, Shaka hasn't exactly produced a ton in the NFL. But if they find a guy like that late in the draft, great. The one position that is perhaps more of a need for them, depending on what they do with Cole Holcomb, is linebacker. Now, they probably need depth there anyway. I know they liked guys like Dejon Harris, and they obviously elevated him towards the end of last year, and some of those guys played well in their limited roles. They re-signed Mayo, so they've got him as a depth piece. But what do you make of this linebacker class and where it could fit on the hierarchy of needs for the Commanders?
I think the linebacker, they'll probably draft somebody, and it's kind of a up and down linebacker group, I think. And that's kind of interesting. I think, like the guy that I like the best is Jack Campbell from Iowa. He's got a little bit of, he's 6'5", 246 pounds. So a little bit of a traditional kind of
big man,
knock you in the face linebacker, but he plays with kind of Kuechly-esque instincts. He's reading the screens, he's calling the defense. And I think he would be just an excellent kind of piece to complement Jamin. I think he just is kind of this big, smart. He tested way better than he thought. I think the testing numbers are going to push him up, and as a result, kind of push him out of Washington's price range. Um, Henley from Washington State is a converted receiver to linebacker whose film is incredible to watch. He tested well. The kid from Duke, Shaka Hayward, he reminds me like a 1-to-1 of Jamin, and they tested about the same. So if you have a style, a long-armed, kind of smarter version, like a more polished version of Jamin, like he'll be available probably in the 5th, 6th round. So I do think it's someone they're going to target. I just think it's not like the running back class. It's not like the tight end class. It's not like the D-line class where it's very deep kind of throughout. It's like there are a couple names on this list where I'm like, target this guy. Like you need to kind of be specific here and kind of hone in on a skill set. Dorian Williams from Tulane, again, tested very high, 34.5-inch arms, long arms for a guy. They kind of like that in their linebackers, really snappy and twitchy, a little bit of a project, but again, in the 5th, 6th round, like maybe even the 4th round, that's excellent depth for this team. So those are some names to kind of keep an eye on. But again, it's not like, hey, throw a stone, you're going to hit a good one. It's like you really got to trust your evaluation here and make sure that it's fitting your vision for the team.
Definitely. All due respect to the specialists, we're not going to talk about the specialists. The Washington is set. They've got their guys. They used a draft pick, a kind of absurdly high one on Cameron Cheeseman a couple years ago. Trustway is as good as it gets.
Feel pretty good about that evaluation, huh?
Good job, Joey Sly. So that pretty much covers it. We got all the O-line yesterday. We got quarterback. We got edge. We check all them boxes.
And if you guys want us to cover someone we didn't talk about, just leave a comment. Yeah. Maybe we'll do like a 5-minute, 10-minute segment at the end of the next episode or something.
Yeah, actually, that would be great if there's any specific prospects, because like I've gotten questions, for instance, over the last couple of days of like, okay, let's say Gonzalez. If Gonzalez goes high and Witherspoon or Joey Porter Jr. is on the board, like who fits Washington's scheme better? So like questions like that, I think are really great and can be very insightful, and we can certainly do those amongst ourselves. We'll also try to get some of our draft buddies on. But the biggest thing we got moving forward is free agency as well. So definitely we'll try to check in on some of the free agent news as that comes. Obviously still waiting on the sale. I'm sure that will make its way into the podcast as that happens as well. So lots happening to talk about, even though it is the middle of March. By the way, when the hell did it become the middle of March?
I know. It's a trip.
What are we doing? All right. What we're doing, we're ending the podcast. If you like what you heard and you're not subscribed, go ahead. Do that right now. Click follow on Spotify. Subscribe in Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you're checking out Logan's work as well. Logan_Paulson82 on Instagram. I'm on Twitter at Craig Hoffman. I'm also on Instagram, starting to post a little bit more stuff there as well. Craig_Hoffman. All right. That's it. That's all. That's the podcast. See you next week on Take Command. Thanks for watching this clip of Take Command. First, why don't you like it? It lets other people know that it was good, and then they should watch it too. And Logan, we have a new exclusive home for full episodes.
We do. 1067 The Fans YouTube page. Go check it out and please subscribe.
Yeah, do what Logan said.
Do it.
Very, very smart.